tell you a secret. The closet is not just for gay people. It's just that gay people were honest that we were closeted. Everybody's closeted. And everybody plays pretend. They all walk around saying, I am, even though they have no idea who they are. What they're often saying is, I want to make you feel comfortable. So I'm going to contort myself into who I think that you want me to be. That is a form of injury that I, as a poet, could spend eons trying to write and never articulate. The pain of feeling like the only way you can belong is by betraying yourself and shape-shifting, knowing that that love is dependent on your self-disappearance. The reason that trans people like me inspire so much envy, which is a synonym for transphobia, is because people look at us and they say, what do you mean you get to be free now? I thought we had to play pretend. I thought we had to play hide and seek our entire lives. And trans people have the moral fortitude and clarity to look at the world and say, no, I'm about to tell you a secret. The closet.
So this was a short, or reel actually, by ALOK v. Menon. So what he mentioned about is the closet, a defining structure of our society. And I like how he just explains everything. Like the closet, it's a concept of how we hide our true self from our society. That's how I interpret his message. And also how we need to play pretend in order to fit in certain patterns and also standards in the current society. Do you feel like sometimes you're wearing some kind of suit or some kind of mask in order to fit among others? Well, that is what he's referring to. And sometimes when we see other people doing that, but in a different way, showing themselves without a mask, without a suit, we tend to look at them awkwardly. Like, what are you doing? Aren't we supposed to be like this current moment, but you're not doing like this? And that is when we get uncomfortable. That is when we tend to not tolerate the presence of the other person because it's not fitting into someone else's standards. So now you see like the correlation or where I'm going to. I think that type of freedom, when someone expresses their true self, it's so relieving. But for other people, it could be something pretty negative because it's like they realize they've been like living a lie, or they've been just retaining themselves all this time, and that could develop some type of anger. That could develop not accepting the other person's freedom. And that could develop, yes, and feeling like envy about the other person's freedom, style, personality, not having the same play, having the same necessity of hiding themselves anymore in order to acquire something from the society we're currently living at. And I also think this message is so valuable because it breaks a lot of mental and boundaries, a lot of social norms itself, that when you tend to think it like that or see it like that, it's like, yes, most of the times or sometimes we tend to play pretend in order to fit into different social norms. For example, in the corporate world, or in your neighborhood, in a school, and so on. On a family dinner, that's the most particular one, but also most common one. Different dynamics develop different kinds of necessity for our brains to adapt to. So when that happens, we need to play pretend in order for us, even sometimes, to survive. So is it something entirely wrong? I think that what is wrong about it is that sometimes society pushes us to do so. that is when it becomes like something like more on the negative side. What if we all just stop playing pretend, but also letting others do it at the same time? That it is okay to show myself at family dinners without my stability in the table being like compromised. Or what if I show myself in school without the fear of being just suspended or something worse? What if I just show myself on my current job without being putting my mask on? What would happen? Have you ever thought that? And why identity matters and how it shapes us. Your identity is a set of physical, mental, emotional, social, and interpersonal characteristics that are unique to you. It encapsulates your core personal values and your beliefs about the world. Your identity also gives you a sense of continuity, the feeling that you are the same person you were 2 years ago, and you will be the same person 2 days from now. Your identity gives you your sense of self. It is a set of traits that distinguishes you from other people, because while you might have some things in common with others, no one else has the exact same combination of traits as you. Your identity plays an important role in how you treat others and how you carry yourself in the world, says Asfia Qaadir, a psychiatrist. What makes up a person's identity? These are some of the factors that can actually shape or be part of your identity. Physical appearance, physical sensations, emotional traits, education, profession, life experiences, genetics, health conditions, family, nationality, ethnicity, social community, peer group, political environment, language, religion, spirituality, gender, personality, goals, values, and I can go on. We all have layers and dimensions that contribute to who we are and how we express our identities, says Asfia. All of these factors interact together and influence you in unique and complex ways, shaping who you are. Identity formation is a subjective and deeply personal experience. Identity development is a lifelong process that begins in childhood, starts to solidify in adolescence, and continues through adulthood. During childhood is when we first start to develop a self-concept and form of identity. As children, we're highly dependent on our families for our physical and emotional needs. Our early interactions with family members played a critical role in the formation of our identities. During this stage, we learn about our families and communities and what values are important to them. Traumatic experiences during childhood can disrupt identity formation and have lasting effects on the psyche or psyche. Adolescence. This is like a critical period in the formation of identity. As teenagers, we start to intentionally develop a sense of self-base and how the values we are learning show up in our relationships with ourselves, our friends, family members, and in different scenarios that challenges us. Adolescence is time of discovering ourselves, learning to express ourselves, figuring out where we fit in socially and where we don't, developing relationships, and pursuing interests. This is the period where we start to become independent and form life goals. It can also be a period of storm and stress, as we experience mood disruptions, challenge authority figures, and take risks as we try to work out who we are. As adults, we begin building our public or professional identities and deepen our personal relationships. These stages are not set in stone, rather they are fluid, and we get the rest of our lives to continue experiencing life and evolving our identities. Having a strong sense of identity is important because it first creates self-awareness. Strong self-identity can give you a deep sense of awareness of who you are as a person. It also provides direction and motivation. Having a strong sense of identity can give you a clear understanding of your values and interests. Enables healthy relationships as well. When you know and accept yourself, you can form meaningful connections with people who appreciate and respect you for who you are. Keeps you grounded. Our identities give us roots when things around us feel chaotic and uncertain. Our roots keep us grounded and help us remember what truly matters at the end of the day, says the doctor. It also improves decision making. Understanding yourself well can help you make choices that are consistent with your values, beliefs, and long-term goals. Fosters community participation, of course. Identity is often shaped by cultural, social, political, spiritual, and historical contexts. Having a strong sense of identity allows you to understand, appreciate, and take pride in your cultural heritage. On the other hand, a weak sense of identity can make it more difficult to ground yourself emotionally in times of stress and more confusing when you're trying to navigate major life decisions. And that is when we cross the lines. When we start feeling times of stress, it can be also confusing accepting other people's identities as well when yours isn't clear enough. Tip for reflecting on your own identity. This type of things is going to help you to reflect or to develop your identity, such as art, reading, journaling, having conversations, but meaningful conversations, nature, relationships, and so on. Do you know all this stuff about identity? This was written by Zahana Gupta. Thank you, Zahana. And she wrote this on VeryWell Mind. And I think it was something like a great brief explanation about what identity is, what it is. And of course, we tend to think that identity is more aligned to personality, but as she mentions here before, what makes identity, and it consists in all these things like political environment, language, religion, personality. So personality is just one of many others. And now imagine personality on the side. It will be like another box of things after things and after things. And at the end we don't know or we tend to mix one concept with the other. So what fascinates me is that we tend to think that this type of concepts aren't complex enough. So we tend to associate them with things we think we understand. But when our understanding goes into the scene and it starts contrasting with other people's realities, identities, and personality, is that when everything starts to get blurry. Because sometimes we don't even have like a strong personality base or a strong identity base on ourselves. So that creates conflicts, that creates also confusion, that creates not being able to tolerate some things about others. And of course, not being able to comprehend other people's realities and each one's identities and personalities. So we live in a world where we say that we need to understand and to comprehend easier or quicker because we have more information, we have people on the net store, but also we are connecting through social media on the internet, so we need to accelerate our learning processes. But we're entering all these platforms and all these access to the media let us also be like confused about the world itself. So now we have two things we need to develop faster than usual than other centuries ago. Is first to make her personality and her identity as strong as possible, and then when we access to the media and all the social media platforms, we are so sure about our own identities and personality that we aren't going to cross those thin lines so easily anymore. So we're going to be tolerating other people, we're going to be understanding different concepts easier, and we're also will be tolerating and understanding other people's situations and scenarios. Are we already on that stage? I think we are not. Can we be on that stage? Perhaps, but in every century, in the future, in the past, we're also going to encounter someone, more than one person, that isn't ready yet. Probably will never be. We will never be all at the same time. So that's why we keep having these online conflicts and also in real-time conflicts. Feeling uncomfortable with ourselves because sometimes we don't want to feel like that. We don't want to act like that, but we don't comprehend because we haven't even comprehended ourselves. Like, where is this uncomfortability coming from? Where is this feeling coming from? Why am I not able to accept other people's identity? Why am I not able to accept my neighbor's personality? Because we also have things going on in ourselves that we need to comprehend ourselves first and having a strong basis before going to the world. That will be like the perfect scenario. Like, once we're ready, we can go out. But now we have responsibilities. We have our own life going on. So we need to go out to the world without being, majority of the times, entirely ready. That's the reality we're all facing. And that's why we cannot be aligned with other people. And we will never be. Because situations keep coming one after the other. And at some point, we're also learning and changing. So our personalities keep changing. And our identities, since I just mentioned the factors that are into identity, those things are changing too. So how do you establish basis on something that keeps changing over and over again? That is what makes us humans so complicated sometimes to comprehend. Even having a conversation with yourself, sometimes you say like, yeah, like, why am I like this? You're like, You're like a bunch of beautiful things and awful things at the same time. Trying to find balance while having changes is one of the most complex things we also keep figuring out until we die. And that is normal. So don't be afraid. It isn't that you're not doing a good job. Even nowadays that everything is more accelerated than other times, it's okay. Yes, the world is going faster than usual, and you're right about that. But yeah, the challenge is to keep up and to know that at that speed, if we are getting about the world, is actually the accurate thing to get from society right now. That is when we're going to start shaping your identity and yourself in a more adaptable way. Wow, doing like an inner concentration or inner conversation, to say it on a better way. Also constantly asking yourself if that is the right path to follow in order to establish basis on your identity. I will leave it like this because I love these topics. But if you want to tell me, have you ever heard this kind of a speech that I think it was really, that opens your eyes a bit more? Or did you know what was identity before, that it has like all these factors? I didn't know entirely. And I didn't know like all of them, because we establish our identity in changes, but also the factors that makes identity possible are also changing by themselves. So I know there are more, so probably I will never know all. And that's fine too. Let me know, do you think you have like a strong basis regarding your identity, or do you think that you still have a long way to go? But let me know in the comments, and I hope you like this video. If you did, remember to follow and to subscribe. I'm also on Instagram and Twitch. Just imagine just having this kind of conversations live. I really enjoy it. So you can also send me your suggestions. I love to read a lot through Instagram. So you can share me a book, an article, a magazine, a post on Instagram. It doesn't have to be something academic or scientific at all. Just reading right now like a piece of post, that matters too. So it's fine. And see you another time. Bye bye.